Hello, this is Craig from bizbox.co.uk. In this video I'm going to show you how I painted a converted Inquisitor model that I have made for my Blanchitsu warband. So let's just crack straight on into the video. So this is the miniature we'll be working on in this video. Of course in true Blanchitsu style, it's quite a conversion. So I'll just run through how I converted him. So some of you might even be able to spot some parts on him. He has a custodian guard torso and legs. He has, I think, yeah, this arm is from, it's from the Vanguard Raptors, I believe, for the Stormcast. Just trying to remember. The other arm is also a custodian guard, and I've given him a thunder hammer from the Grey Knight Terminators, I believe. Either Terminate, yeah, I think it's Terminators. Either Terminators or the Strike Squad. There's a Grey Knight Thunderhammer. The head is actually from Skybore, just one of their like Roman heads or something. And we have a little Inquisitor symbol from the Deathwatch upgrade. We have some Tartarus Terminators shoulder pads, and then we have a little shield, which I think's from the Blood Angels Terminators, and then we also have a robe, which is also from Custodian Guard. So that is how he was built. So let's get into painting him. Okay, so we're going to try some different things in this video, maybe show off some different techniques and try something new. It's all in my head at the moment what I want to do with him, so I haven't sort of tried doing this exact sort of method before. So we'll see how he turns out. So we're going to start with his armour. And I'm going to take black metal from scale 75. This is a very dark metal. It's actually slightly darker than lead belcher. So if you're using GW paints, just mix a bit of Chaos Black in with your lead belcher. Only a tiny bit darker, mind you, as you can see as it goes on. It's not a massive difference between the lead belcher, but I'm a great fan of these scale 75 paints. I think they're fantastic metallics. Certainly recommend them to anyone. So if you're someone like me who's not a massive fan of the GW metallics, some are nice, some are not so nice, then yeah, definitely pick up the scale 75 ones because they're really good. Anyone who watched my live shows will know that I'm always praising them. So literally just going over all the armour. Not too fast at the moment. I'll leave his glove though, because that'll be like brown or something. Go over the shoulder pads. I'm sorry if my hand's getting in the way. So yeah, I'm just going to work my way around. Just one coat really seems to be enough. These paints cover very well. They're very heavy pigmented metallics, which is why I like them. For good measure, we'll do the axe for hammer. So the next thing I want to do is actually add an oil wash to this miniature. Now I'll probably go into more detail about oil washes in a future video, but first thing we want to do really is give this guy a varnish. So I'm going to take some Ard Coat and I'm going to cover him in some Ard Coat, and this will just give the oil wash a nice surface to run off, and also if you make any mistakes it's easier to clean up without affecting the metal on the miniature. So I'm just going to brush this on. You can of course airbrush varnish on, and any varnish will do. I sort of recommend a gloss, and the paint will run off the gloss a bit better, but I don't think it matters too much. I'm going to try and apply it thinly. We don't need a massive thick coat of this. My Ard Coat's quite thick and gloopy. I've had it for quite a while, but it does the job. And it shouldn't dry streaky. Doesn't usually. So I'll just go around all these metal areas. Even on the shield. Some areas won't actually be this silver colour. go over them anyway, so we can always just go over with other colours later on. So I'm going to give this maybe about half an hour to dry. Maybe a bit longer, we'll see how long it takes. Then afterwards, we'll do the fun bit with the oil wash. Okay, so now that's dry, we can start to have some fun with the oil washers. So, I've got an oil paint, and this is a burnt umber. We're going to go burnt umber rather than a black. And I've also got just some clear mineral spirits. So I'll try and get them in the shot while I move you out of the way. So I'm just using these, any clear mineral spirits will do. And then I've mixed them up in a little like plastic shot glass. And you guys probably know the correct consistency of a wash. I'm hoping that this is that consistency too. And essentially we're going to brush it on. Now I'm using an old brush here, so I haven't got like a small brush to really get good control with. Don't use your nice acrylic GW brushes. Any nice brushes that you use for miniature wargaming, I don't really recommend using with these oil paints. So just use an old brush. Now you can wipe away the excess if it's too thick. As you can see, this burnt umber is really making a nice dirty effect on this hammer, which is exactly what I'm going for. I'm just going to go around. Yeah, do you notice I'm more sort of dabbing it on rather than brushing? And it pulls nicely into the recesses. The gloss shade, gloss varnish, sorry, really helps with this. Now, of course, if you didn't want this dirty sort of look on the armour, then you can, of course, use a black. For the weapon, I may just use a non-oil wash, so that will look different to the armour. Now, this does take quite a while to dry. It's not like your normal acrylic wash. Keep checking it every now and then. If it does pull up, you can brush it away or just wipe away the excess. And yeah, use the mineral spirits as well to wash your brush out with. Got a little tub of it just on the side. And yeah, I'll let this dry and we'll come back. So the next step is to highlight it. So for these armour areas, I'm going to take Stormhost Silver, and I'm just going to dry brush it. You can of course edge highlight. You can work up through the silvers to really build colour up, but I'm just being lazy, and I'm going to dry brush it. So I definitely want to catch all the edges. I quite like these eagle things on his shins as well. We'll definitely catch them. And essentially going to work my way around the armour. On the flatter areas, I'm still going to hit them just ever so gently. But that's really helped bring out detail in his armour. I'm probably going to have a lot of the eagles and stuff just in the silver. I've originally thought about painting them gold, but I quite like them in this silver. I may do some gold or brassy bits on this miniature as we progress. We'll see. Oh, this bit actually fell off. I did test dry brushing on the back just to make sure it was all dry, and I accidentally knocked that off as I did it, so the glue just hasn't quite dried on that, but I think we're there. Obviously this hand will be a different colour. Again, I'm just leaving the weapon for now, but no doubt it will have the same treatment later on after it's had a normal oil wash. But I'm really just focusing on the armour to begin with right now. And that's pretty cool. That's quite a sort of Blanchitsu dirty look to it already. I'm really liking that. The oil wash has sort of built up a little bit in some of the recesses, so it makes the detail look a little bit shallower, but that sort of works in Blanchitsu, I think. This sort of dirty look, it works well. I quite like it. So yeah, I have contemplated maybe adding a glaze of colour to the armour. So that's something I may test on the back to see how it looks, and then if it looks alright, then we'll do it in the next step. Okay, so we are going to go ahead with the glaze. You'll notice I put a bit of glass down as well. I've got little specks of the oil wash on this background, and that won't wash off. So I put the glass down to protect it. I usually paint with the glass down, but on this occasion I just completely forgot. Where's my brush? So as you can see, we have some slight sort of colour on here. I'll probably build it up in a couple of layers. But essentially what I've done is I've got some Waywatcher green, and I mixed 2 parts of that to 1 part Gilliman blue, and I've also thinned this down with water as well, so it's a very thin glaze. And I'm just going over the armour. It sort of gives it this little turquoisey little tint in there. Contrasts pretty well with the umber. I want this armour to look more sort of metallic-y turquoisey rather than sort of this metallic-y sort of yellow, but the umber does give it a nice dirt with it, and they work really well together. And we're going to go red on the cloak as well, so that gives it a really nice contrast there. But this again, it's a very nice sort of Blanchitsu-esque sort of way of doing things with a lot of glazes, and really makes the metallics just pop a little bit more. We're going to ignore the raised details and eagles and stuff. We'll leave them pure silver. So yeah, I'm just working around doing these areas. I'm really happy with how this is looking actually. Do we do the shield? I'm thinking I might actually do red on the shield. We'll do the same thing but with red. So yeah, I am liking that. I'll see how it is when it dries, and if I wish I will add another little coat, but I think it's going to look pretty nice when it's dry. So yeah, it's just added this very nice turquoise colour, and that itself also sort of adds a sort of dirty and corrosive type of look to it as well. So yeah, really happy with how that's come out. Just making sure this symbol, that's very flimsy on the back. There's a couple of little bits just around there we need to pay attention to as well. But yeah, we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so if I sort of hold them into the light, hopefully you can see on the camera, just faint sort of turquoisey greeny sort of you can say glow, but it's just very subtle there in the armour. I really like that. That works quite nice. I have no idea how the camera's picking it up under the lights and that, but to the eye, it looks pretty cool. So if you try it yourself, you'll see what I mean. So next, I'm gonna do a few base coats. I think we'll get some base coating done. We're gonna start with corn red. This is for the cloak. Now, of course, normal people will probably keep the cloak separately as they paint the miniature, which will make it a lot easier to get to these hard to reach areas. But I'll try my best. But I had to show you on camera. Let's start on the back. So yeah, just gonna apply. As you can see, it's going to need a couple of thin coats. So apply a couple of thin coats of this colour on his cloak. So here you can see the cloak. It's not fully dry, but we're going to come back to it because we're going to do a next base coat, which is Screamer Pink. And this is just for the handle of his weapon. So, just get a little bit on the palette. You can see I'm just on his thunder hammer. I use this colour a lot for these weapon handles. I really like it. So, oh, I'm going to use it here as well. I'm sorry, it's base in the shop. So next up, we're going to paint all the leather areas, and for this we're going to take some dried bark. So there's a fair few leather areas on him, and I want to do them nice and dark. A true Blanchitsu style. So yeah, we have this holster here. We have a pouch. And also his glove is leather. There's also a couple of leather straps on here, which I'll switch to a fine brush to do, and I also have there's this rope on the back which I'll do in the same colour as well, but I'll switch to a finer brush for them and then be back for the next step. So with these areas now base coated, I'm going to notice I've gone red on the little tabard thing at front as well. I was originally going to do this in that brown also, but I thought I'd just go with red. But now these are all base coated, we're going to wash all three of them with some non-oil, and this will darken them down really nicely. So I'll start at the front here. I'm applying it fairly heavily. So just going on all the three previous colours that we used for base coating. So the brown, the screamer pink, and the red also. So on the back here, getting all these bits at the top. We're sort of almost going to sort of glaze it over, so I'll darken that red down for us. If it pulls up at the bottom, just wipe it away with your brush. Okay, so these shade washes have now dried. As you can see, it's made these areas a lot darker. So we're going to come back in with the corn red and just do a thin, I'll thin it down even more. So we'll thin our paint down just a bit more than usual, and we'll just sort of re-establish some of the higher points. And then afterwards we'll add a further highlight to this, but we're not going to go too bright with the highlight. So I'm just sort of focusing on some of the raised areas. You can see where sort of the folds in the cloth are, so we're going to highlight sort of like so, and this will dry a little bit darker than this, so it'll be a nice, should hopefully be a nice subtle highlight, and we'll go up here also as well. So I'll just wipe around the rest of the cloak, and also the little tabard thing on the front. Okay, so as you can see, it's left us with a little subtle highlight. Now of course you can go into a lot more detail with the cloaks, do nice blends and everything, and I do have a video on this channel about how to wet blend a cloak, which I think is also red, but just for the purposes of this video we're just going to keep it simple. So next up I'm going to take some Evil Sun's Scarlet, and essentially we are just, I've got way too much on the brush here. I'm just going to quickly rinse that brush out and start again with that because I had a bit too much on the brush there. We only need a little bit on the brush, and we're just going to catch some of the finer edges. Now again I've thinned it out just a bit more than I normally would, so just catch some of these finer edges, any sort of corners of the folds, like so. I'll catch some down here as well. You can even just do some little bits just on these areas if you so wish. Nice fine highlight, certainly up corners. On the tabard. Now I lost a bit of detail on the front here, possibly because of the oil wash. But you can sort of get away with that on Blanchitsu miniatures, so I'm really not too worried about that at all. Okay, so next up we're going to highlight these little areas on the weapon, and I'm going to take some pink horror for that. Put a little bit on my palette and thin it out again. Now I'm thinning these out a little bit more than I would if I was base coating, for example. Just gives me a bit more control over these highlights, and they can also be quite subtle as well. And if I get a much better tip on the brush, just gonna carefully just paint it into the two sides of each little diamond, so a bit time consuming on this, so I'll work my way around that. And next up we're going to highlight the brown areas. So next up, the brown areas, as I just mentioned, we're going to take some Gore brown. Same deal as before, we are just edge highlighting here. Thin it out as well, and we'll just catch these edges here. I think I may have over thinned it, so that might be too much on the brush actually. I'm just going to edge highlight like so. Again, just around the pouches. And then I've also got the glove and these little straps up here. Okay, so next up we are going to add some gold to the miniature. So originally I wasn't going to have any gold elements, but I think there's a few places, such as on the hammer here. Maybe I'll pick out like the skull and a few other little bits. And of course we have this nice pattern on the back of his cloak. So to paint all these, I'm going to take some black gold from scale 75. I really love the metallics, as you all know, and the golds especially are really nice. So let's start with a skull up here. I think I'll paint these little dots on the shoulder pad as well. Just make the miniature a little bit more visually interesting. So I'm just going to pick out some random areas with this. Get the hammer as well. And once I've done all these, actually keep stuff in the shop, and then I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, the gold areas have been painted, like so. They really catch the light, and these are really shiny metallics, and very cool. And before I get into all shading them and that, I've got to block in some other colours, so we're going to start with the face. We're going to go for Bugman's Glow. So the sort of skin tone I'm going for here is probably going to be fairly dark, just to fit with the theme of the miniature. Now, I know in Blanchitsu, skin is usually either quite pale or quite dark, really, depending on the theme you're going for. So let's go for quite dark with this one. So yeah, I'm going to use Bugman's Glow, and as you can see, I'm going to need at least 2 thin coats here, maybe even 3, just to get a nice solid coverage over the black. I have thinned it out just a little bit, just so we don't obscure too much more detail. Okay, so done about 3 coats on the head. It's still a little bit wet, but we're going to move on to base coat on the bird next. I wasn't really sure what colour to do. I didn't really want to do the same sort of brown as his glove and that, but I do want to go sort of brown. So I've actually picked out Arabic Shadow from scale 75. Forgive me for not knowing the GW equivalent off the top of my head, but you'll see as it goes on what sort of colour this is. So I'll just put some on my palette, thin out ever so slightly, and then start applying it to a miniature. Again, probably need a couple of thin layers to cover over the black, and there's actually quite a runny paint. I've barely thinned it down. I think it just needs a little bit of a mix on the palette a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to need a few layers of this. Either that's not me shaking the paint up enough, or it's just naturally really thin. But that's fine, we'll build up a few layers to get a nice smooth coat. It's better than just sticking on a really thick, horrible layer. So bear with me while I do that, and I shall be back. Okay, so it took several layers, but we got a nice coat in the end. And while I was waiting for one of the layers to dry, I did have a look around to see which GW paint is closest to the Arabic Shadow, and I found XV88 is pretty similar. So if you have a bird to paint and you want to paint this way, yeah, XV88. So the gold, flesh and the bird are all going to be shaded in exactly the same way, and it's going to be Agrax Earthshade. And yes, even the face is going to have Agrax Earthshade. Now normally I'd use a flesh shade, but as I said, we want a dark face here, so let's start with the face and go with Agrax. That really deepens our shadows down, but they still look pretty cool. Of course, we will highlight this face to bring it back up a bit, but again, we're going to keep it pretty dark. Now, for golds, there's all sorts of colours you can shade golds with. I particularly like to use purple, but in this instance, I don't know, gold's quite shiny, so we want to bring that down. I'm going to use the Agrax for that. So I'm going to finish off shading the gold and shading the bird. He's still a little bit wet from his final coat, so I'll just wait for him to dry before I shade him, and then when we're back, we'll begin to highlight these colours, and then essentially he'll be complete. Okay, so shade's now fully dried. As you can see, it's brought out some of the detail in the bird. What little detail there is, that's not mainly from all the layers, it's just not a heavily detailed piece anyway, really. I mean, there's still enough on there, feathers and that. And yeah, anyway, we are going to start by highlighting the gold areas. I'm going to take some Rune Lord Brass. So this is a really sort of dull colour, but I think that'll just add a nice sort of dull contrast to some of these higher points. It's sort of almost, well, not sort of almost silver, it's more sort of coppery colour. It's a bit different to the gold, but that'll just take out some of that shine. I didn't want to go with a lighter, brighter gold. So I'll just work around these areas. I'm sorry for basically in the way, it's quite awkward painting this Thunderhammer. So I'll just finish going around these areas, and then we'll be I think next we'll highlight the bird, and then we'll focus on the face. Okay, so first up to highlight the face, we are going to take some Cadian flesh tone, and we're going to add in a little bit of the Bugman's Glow. I don't want to go too light straight away with this. I'm going to thin it out as well. With skin areas, it's always best to thin your paints and really sort of work up with thin coats. And this brush is fantastic. There we go. So, catching most of the raised areas here. I'll probably need to do a couple of coats really get a nice smooth finish. Get me here as well. Obviously, we're only painting the raised areas and not the recesses, keeping the darker colour in the recesses there. So yeah, I'll do one more coat of this and then we'll just give it a further highlight. And then the skin will be complete. And then I think I did say a little while ago I was going to do the bird first, didn't I? There we go. This is what happens when you just film at random intervals. Because I don't film all these in one go. I do a few clips, come back, and then film again. So yeah, we'll do a bed after this then. Okay, so now we're going to come back in with just Cajun flesh tone on its own, and we're just going to hit just certain areas, so like the top of the brow, his nose and his ears. You can even just do a tiny little bit on his head. Again, the paint's quite thin. And we want this bit here, maybe a little dot on his cheek. It's a bit hard to get to his upper lip, but we want to just do a bit on there as well. We'll turn him upside down, it might be a bit easier. And there we go. So yeah, I think we need a bit there. A little V shape there. It's a really cool head actually. That's from Skyball. I really like that. It's got good character. But yeah, very simple paint job on the face. So really, all we've got left to do is the bird. You'll notice there's a ribbon here. I'm just going to paint that red, the same as his cloak, and I'll probably just paint this little tube red as well. I was originally going to do him like a dark yellow, but I think it might just be too many colours. And I want to leave this until after I painted the bird. So I'll do the next step where we highlight the bird and finish him off, and then he'll be complete. Okay, so I'm just going to dry brush the highlight for the bird, and I'm going to take some Bane Blade brown for this. Oh, excuse me. And then yeah, just going to dry brush it, keep it simple. So as always, just wipe my brush so we can just lightly dry brush. I like Bane Blade brown because it's quite a muted brown, which works really well for anything sort of Blanchitsu style. These sort of muted pale colours, that works really well over this brown that we've already got. And just for that one dry brush, it looks really nice. So that's all we really need to do for this bird. Apart from, of course, painting his beak and claws, which will be our final step. So the beak and claws will both be painted exactly the same. And that will be with some Avaland Sunset. So just carefully just applying some to the beak. We also have his eyes as well, I forgot about his eyes. I'll literally just stick a blob of white scar in the eyes, so we don't really have to show that on camera, I suppose. I'm sure this video is quite long by now. I filmed this over a course of about 3 days. It's been great fun to do, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching them. But essentially, that'll be him done. So, time for a little outro, I think. So here he is. This is the finished miniature. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. He's been great fun to convert and just as much fun to paint as well. Now of course this is just a very simple tabletop standard that I've given him, but I wanted to try something different with the armour, as you've seen in the video, and I'm really happy with how that's turned out. Originally I was just going to do a video just showing off the armour, but I thought why not do a full mini video. I really enjoy doing the full miniature videos, even though they do take a long time to paint and film. So, but I've really enjoyed doing him. I'm really happy with how his skin's turned out actually, even though it was very simple as you've just seen. And the bird as well, really nice piece. I really like that piece. So yeah, I'm really happy with this conversion. I think he's got a really good sort of Blanchitsu feel about him. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have any other suggestions for paint tutorials, whether they be Blanchitsu style or just generic ones, then please leave a comment below. Or if there's any specific figure you'd like me to paint up, then certainly leave a comment below for that as well, that would be quite cool. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, and you may wish to check out our Patreon as well. We have some cool little giveaways going on. This month we are giving away Mortarion to anyone on the $10 pledge or more. So you'll be, if you sign up for that, you'll be within you will be within a chance, with a chance to win him. I still can't say it right. It's getting late. I'm tired. It's a good place to end the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.